Is my mic all right?
Yeah.
Your mic sounds good.
You sound as good as your beard looks.
Hey, thanks.
Like,
so I sound like a hobo?
Well.
All right.
Randy, they already have questions for you, too.
Yeah, I'll copy and paste them. And then
Friday 13th, yeah.
Oh, shoot me the link to the chat, too, because I'm not in it.
It's the YouTube one that I posted on Twitter. If you're on Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah. The world can hear you now.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Matt, do I need to turn off my air conditioner or anything? Does that sound...
No, keep those tits nice and cool.
I like them perky.
Yeah, I know. It looks so good when you're cold.
Where's your ice cubes?
It's like the shirt from South Park.
So many ice cubes right next to me. But most of them are in my butt.
Hey, everybody that we've never met before. Thanks for hanging out in the YouTube chat.
Just so you all know, because we usually have something that airs before the show on the audio recording.
Yes.
We are going to spoil things about the movies that we're reviewing. Some of that may leak into the stories that we do before that, and we are going to swear a lot.
Incessantly.
So please be aware of what kind of show you're getting if you're here to visit, because we want you to enjoy yourselves and we don't want to cause anybody any harm.
That's true.
Yes. Last time got weird.
Oh, it's going to get weirder. It's going to get a lot weirder.
What was so weird about last time?
I don't remember. Randy, I do feel like I should show you this, but one of our listeners made me a bottle opener.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it keeps caps nice and flat, so I can show the world how much of an alcoholic I am.
Nice.
It's all a matter of what you're into. Cool. Then, Melissa, did you send Randy the doc so he has the news stories?
I didn't. I can send that right now. Actually.
It's up to him if he wants it.
I think I remember last time I had an email.
He just wings it. He doesn't read shit. He's just gonna wing it.
Neither do we.
Well, much like the last time you were on here, everything has to go through Melissa. He won't accept direct contact from me.
I'm like his handler. Like that. I don't get paid enough for this.
Wow, you get paid for this?
Exactly. No.
I don't know.
Well, I want to know who Greenback Comics is and if they actually have comics.
They do. That's Justin Corbett. He's the owner of that. Justin has a comic series. It's Lovecraftian comic series called Speak No Evil, and I've reviewed the first two. They're amazing. The artists on the comics are actually really, really talented, and you should. I'll send you the link later. You should definitely
want to check those out. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like he should maybe meet our friend Ben Kranoff.
Awesome.
He was a previous guest of ours, does a lot of Lovecraftian art.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you links later.
Fucking sweet. Cool. Is everybody seated comfortably? Any pee breaks before we start actually real recording?
Don't say it or it's going to make it happen.
I always have to.
Is that how that works?
That's for me. I'm 50.
Like a camel with prostate problems.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I will start recording the actual audio for the podcast then, and then we'll fucking party.
Let's do it.
Welcome to episode 89 of the Podcast of Terror, a production of the Galactic Network. I'm your host, Matt Stein. With me, as always, is Corey Engorged Prostate Scott.
What?
I don't know.
We're
talking about
I sent you those photos in confidence. I don't understand why you always have to talk about my private business on the air, unless there's a medical professional here in the audience, in which case, please call me. I need help.
Well, that escalated quickly. If you're curious as to how we could get weirder than the last time,
well, that's it.
It already did. Yeah, we're less than a minute in, already prostate. All right. This week we're joined by creator of Corey and my favorite news site, and the executive producer behind Friday the 13th, The Game, which will be coming out this coming Friday, May 26th. I got a bone to pick with you about that date, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, our good friends Melissa Ann from Horror Geek Life and Randy Greenback from Gun Media. How are you guys?
We're good.
I'm doing pretty good. I can answer for myself.
That's true. That's all we can ask. That's all we can ask. Yeah, I was telling Melissa that I waited and waited for a release date after you didn't tell me when it was, and we close on a new house on Friday, so I'll get to play it sometime next month.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be there when you get back to it. You know.
No, it's true. It's like a long lost girlfriend.
I might wind up playing it in Matt's stead, because I showed my wife the 17-minute preview of it last night after we were watching the first of our reviews for today, and she just thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And she's not a gamer, but she's just like, I need to play Jason so I can kill some motherfuckers.
I feel like 17 minutes is the longest you've ever lasted with your wife, so I'm proud of you.
Definitely the longest I've kept her interest. It helps when she's not looking directly at me.
So, speaking of duration, we watched the HBO documentary called Mommy Dead and Dearest. It's about this gypsy Rose girl whose mom convinced her she was younger than she was and gave her all these drugs, and basically the girl went batshit crazy and murdered her mom. So,
As you do. Yeah,
that's the short end of it. And this gypsy girl was talking with a guy from Wisconsin, of all places, go figure. And they were showing that he had previously been arrested for watching pornography and masturbating in a McDonald's for 9 hours. And I'm like, who needs 9? I need 45 seconds.
9 hours.
9 hours. That's raw. That's raw.
Full day's work.
Choking a Twizzler.
That is like 2 times for me, because I just cannot get that refractory period down.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially if there's McNuggets on hand.
All right. I got to put all these dick comments on hold so Melissa and Randy can explain what they do for anyone that doesn't know who they are. And in that case, you should get out from underneath the rock that you live under. So you guys can fight out for whoever wants to go first.
I'll let Randy go.
Oh no, I'm on the spot.
Yep.
What do? I guess I make video games. I've been making video games for about 23 years. Currently working on Friday the 13th. The game comes out soon, and just having a blast, just getting prepped. Been working a lot of long hours with the team, and just excited to have it finally get in the hands of players and having people get to be Jason finally after all these years. Everybody's been pining for a game with Jason. So,
and if I remember correctly, you are here to strictly talk about battle slots, right? No Friday the 13th questions at all.
Yeah, it's all battle slots tonight.
Right.
No. Friday the 13th. That's the next one up to bat.
No, very true. Melissa, now it's your turn.
I run horrorgeeklife.com, and we cover everything for the horror genre, geek culture, and gaming. And we are, of course, really excited about Friday the 13th, the game. And we've been covering it a lot. We'll be doing a lot of play sessions. Several of our reviewers will be doing different play sessions, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, we've just been busy this month covering a lot of conventions, and we have another convention coming up this weekend that I will be covering, which will be exciting because I get to see Randy and the gang again. So yeah, there'll be Famous Monsters convention this weekend.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, in Dallas.
In Dallas.
Thank you both for coming to hang out again. It's always fun. Huge pleasure.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. Me.
Yeah. Did Dustin Diamond get back to you yet?
He did not. I was a little upset. I feel like we're basically bumfuck Egypt bros, and he just doesn't want to hang out.
Damn.
I mean, he's clearly
He'll
not.
be in the house still.
He's clearly
Just
not in
because-
jail. He was on TV not that long ago.
Just because you don't see Dustin Diamond doesn't mean he's not there. I think there's a Dustin Diamond, a little bit of him in all of us.
I'm looking in my backyard, and I just imagine that I'm going to see him peek through the bushes. It's going to be like, fucking Screech.
I believe that he will peek through the bushes into your backyard at any point in time. It's a Dustin Diamond you don't see that you need to be afraid of.
That's how he gets you. All right, I'm gonna get a little housekeeping on the way, and then we'll bombard Randy with some questions, and then we'll do some news. Then we'll talk about these movies. For more on this podcast, including show notes, contact information, subscription links, go to gncast.com/pot. You can chat with us on our Slack channel during our shows at gncast.com/signup. And while you're over there, subscribe to our newsletter as well. Before the questions, we have this new patented little thing I do called What You Drinking? So Randy, Melissa is our guests. You guys get to go first. I probably should have warned you because my guess is you have nothing or water.
I'm drinking unsweet tea.
Oh, God.
It's exciting. Yeah.
That is normally my go-to.
Yep.
Unsweet tea?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And if Randy is not drinking LaCroix, I think everyone is just going to pass out.
Well, I am actually drinking kiwi watermelon LaCroix. It's naturally essence sparkling water. It's
Thank God I felt a little woozy.
Zero sweeteners, zero sodium, innocent and pure. It's hydration elevated.
Are you reading that, or are you just saying it?
I can
I
hear
say
the
that a
game.
lot.
Oh my God.
I'm a LaCroix influencer.
Attaboy.
They pick me
Randy
up
always
LaCroix.
has to explain himself to people. No, it's okay.
How is I've never had the kiwi one.
You've
How
never
is it?
had that? Are you crazy?
Yes.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's refreshing. It's wonderful. It's water elevated.
I generally get what is it? Ice Mountain sparkling watermelon lime.
That's pretty good. That
Yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's 99 cents in my local grocer. So it's a sales bonanza.
I'm not a fan of LaCroix. I am not. I tried. No.
It took me a while, like until a year ago. I never really drank it. I thought seltzer water was disgusting.
Yeah, it really it's something that you have to kind of get used to. It grows on you.
Yeah.
It grows in you.
It grows in you. You drink LaCroix and then a little alien grows inside of you.
It'll make you powerful. Increases your IQ.
Wow, holy shit. Corey, I assume you're drinking Lipton iced tea.
I have it on backup, but I'm actually drinking an IBC Black Cherry Cola.
Fuck yeah.
I bought it by mistake.
Oh.
I thought it was root beer when I grabbed it. It's really not bad though. I've been hugely into this gelato from a company called Talenti.
I almost sent you a picture when I was at the grocery
good.
store.
Oh God, that stuff is amazing, and
Talenti's
they have
good.
a black cherry flavor that is my world right now. And so I saw that I still had this sitting on the table. I'm like, oh, I should finally try that. It's black cherry. It can't be that bad if that's all I'm eating at the moment. And yeah, it's pretty good. I'm drinking it out of a Wonder Woman glass because I'm a man.
I actually have that same glass, but it's already packed away in a box. So, me. All right. At least Corey stepped up his game a little bit. This week I have it's a dose. It's called Dose Ghost from Pipeworks down in Chicago. It is a goes if you're into that kind of thing. It's made with orange, lime, and sea salt. And when things need to get a little weird, I got this this bad mamma jamma called the Beast. It is a Grand Cru that is oak aged. It's 16.8%. So my shirt's coming off later, guys.
I have got to bring something cooler than unsweet iced tea next time.
Sorry, a listener requested that I actually talk about the beer that I'm drinking, and I've been really shitty and like warning people, like, hey, by the way, I have a beer purchasing problem, and I drink them while I record podcasts. My wife didn't realize how bad it was until I started moving the boxes of beer out of our basement to move to her parents so that they're not in the garage. And I think it was when I pulled out box number 9 that she was like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? That's that.
I really want to see you do some sort of stained glass window thing for your new home that is made out of recycled beer bottles, like all the different kinds.
Well, they have
I think
those.
that would be amazing.
They have those like U.S. maps that are beer caps. So I'm gonna do the beer cap for the location of the brewery. We'll start there, and then we'll see about a stained glass window. Enough about me though. Let's talk about Randy.
What?
Let's talk about you. Let's talk to you and about you.
You want me to go away while this happens?
No one is here. No one's
Randy,
here.
what's the length of your inseam?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Nipple to nipple in centimeters. How long?
Want to find out?
In centimeters, 128.
Oh, that's awesome.
Fuck you and your metrics.
I know that oddly enough.
These are the questions people really want to know.
Yeah, these are all the
These are
questions in
actual
the
chat
chat are just about your
questions.
nipple length.
It's a little weird, but whatever, you know.
Isn't that why you came here? You didn't come here for things not to get weird.
No,
right,
I kind of expected it to be a little bit weird, but yeah, this is going up to 11.
I'm a little whippy. We go 6 to midnight these days. There's just no fucking around. Let's hammer through some of these Friday the 13th questions for you, and then as they keep coming in, we'll circle back. But the first one we got is, when did they approach you to give you the licensing for Friday the 13th?
So basically, we had done our announcement of Slasher Volume 1 Summer Camp, which was an homage to Friday the 13th. This is basically the game we're making now without Jason, right? Took place at a place kind of like Camp Crystal Lake, but and it has very similar gameplay to what we have in the game today for launch on Friday. But basically, after we announced, we started getting a lot of press and a lot of buzz building around the game. We made some key announcements that, Tom Savini, Harry Manfredini, and Kane Hodder were on board with us already. So we were already the most legit homage to Friday the 13th that you could be. And next thing you know, we start hearing some, hearing that there might be somebody out there that wants to talk to us. And then next thing you know, we get reached out to by Sean Cunningham, the original director of Friday the 13th. And he has the license, and he's like, hey, we like what you're doing. This is the kind of game we've always wanted to make ourselves. We just never had the chance. And here, would you like to have the license? And, what do you say to that? We're like, wait a second, what kind of strings are attached here? They're like, nothing. We just want to give you the license. All boats, rise with the tide. So it's like, well, because at the time they had a movie coming out and everything was kind of rippling back up. So we're like, hell yeah, let's do this.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Next question is, what if you get enough money and you get to do Pamela Voorhees? How would that work?
We initially had her in as a stretch goal when we did our Kickstarter. That was one of the stretch goals that we had, and we knew we would have to go ahead and record all special kills for her. All the different move sets would all be completely original, but she would have worked a little more stealthy. She would have had to sneak around. I mean, she's not as big and as burly as Jason in the subsequent films, so she would have been a lot more sneaky.
So I guess a question I have is there any talk or plans to add her down the road as, dare I say, DLC?
That was one of the higher end stretch goals for a reason, because we'd have to do a whole complete new move set and a lot of VO around her and whatnot. And
it's not the same as skinning somebody that's already there.
Yeah, major. Yeah, she's also dead. She passed away. Rest in peace. We just, at this point, like, there's lots of other things that we would probably go after first. It's not like it would be completely off the table. I mean, everybody was very psyched to hit, about the idea back in the day. So it could come back up. But lately we've been talking about other things. But right now, all we can do is focus on getting the game done and out and in everybody's hands. And we know we're going to be updating it. So it's just a matter of getting it out the door, and then we're going to start figuring out exactly where we're going next.
Awesome. What is your favorite Jason to play in the game?
Like, for a while, it was part 3 and then part 2. And then we got knife throwing in the game with part 6. And that became my favorite for a long time. But I went back and I started playing part 3 again, just because he's, in part 2 and 3, Jason actually runs, right? So I kind of like the fact that I can be this lumbering menace, this brute that just comes rushing at people a little bit faster than the other Jasons. And it's like, I like putting pressure on people, making them scared. I'm right there, right in front of them, and like taking away the space between us, So I wrap my hand around their throat.
Oh, fair enough. Will there be a private match in Friday the 13th?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. There's private matches. There's public matches. So we have dedicated servers. So you can just click online, go ahead and start searching for a quick match. That works. But you can also get your friends together and invite them into a private match. And in a private match, one of the things that we do is we let you decide who's going to be Jason. So in the public matches, it's pretty fair. Everybody's going to get a chance to be Jason if you hang out in the lobby long enough and keep playing game after game after game. But in private, if one person just wants to be Jason the whole time, or you want to say the last person to die gets to be Jason, or the first person to escape gets to be Jason, you can come up with your own rules and decide. So. And
that's one thing I do want to commend you on, having played Dead by Daylight, and then the beta for your game, is that I liked that in a public match it's random who's Jason. It allows games to start quicker, whereas Dead by Daylight, you pick that you want to be the killer, and then you sit and wait for 40 fucking minutes to play.
Yeah.
Just a little personal tip there. Next question we have is. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say, yeah, because everybody wants to be the killer, right?
No, that's true. That's true.
Not me. I prefer counselor. I'm one of the rare.
You would.
I mean, I prefer to be a counselor as well, just because it's more tense. Like I love alternating, going back and forth between Jason and the counselors. But playing as the counselor, that's the feeling you get watching the movies. You know, you're scared, you're in the moment, you're kind of sucked in, and the playing as Jason's like a power fantasy playing out.
Plus, there's something about the team play.
The whole time playing beta, I mean, oh fuck. I mean, just nonstop. I was freaking out. I hate to be chased, but it was so much fun. So yeah, counselor.
Very true. I actually have a question now that we're kind of on topic. Do you know if it'll be available on, what is it, Xbox Anywhere? So like you can play it on PC, but you can play with people on Xbox. Do you know if you guys got that figured out?
I don't. I think it's just Xbox One at the moment.
Okay, and I don't know how that all works on the back end, so you may need to be like Big Dick Willie in the video game business for them to even consider it. I just figured I'd ask.
We didn't do any of the. That's probably an option that you can add on when you're going through the cert process. But you know, being that we wanted to get the game out as quickly as possible, we didn't want to add more stumbling blocks in our way. So that's something that we didn't really go after, I don't think.
Fair enough. How long have you guys been working on the game?
Oh man, I mean, being that it started as a whole nother game entirely, and we've, everybody on the gun team has had ideas similar to this in the past that, maybe we pitched and it just wasn't time to, have a game like this greenlit. If you remember, like back in the 90s, like Night Trap and a whole bunch of other games and Manhunt in the early 2000s, like caught everybody's eye, and they were just like lightning rods, and like politicians were swarming to kind of ban video games both times those games kind of popped up, and so there really wasn't a climate to release a game like this before, but this time we were winding down a project and we were trying to decide what we were going to do. I know Ronnie and Wes had always been talking about themselves, between them, talking about doing this game. We've all had similar ideas, but at this point in time, we were like, why has there not been a slasher game made? And I was inherently fascinated with asymmetrical multiplayer games while I was working at Red Storm prior to joining up with Gun Media. And we just started talking about, wouldn't it be cool to play as a game where you can be Jason against multiple counselors, and you had these kind of goals that were, asymmetrical, and not everybody has to survive. There really is. Games can end with, everybody winning, nobody winning, some mix, but everybody has fun. And we just kind of started it up and started working on it. So it's been a while since we started. I would say, three and a half years since we started talking about it, like officially talking about summer camp.
That's actually not terrible. There was a Kickstarter. I think it was Kickstarter in 2012 for the space venture. The two dudes, there are two guys from Andromeda, are redoing basically Space Quest, but not Space Quest. Game's still not out, and that's 5+ years that they've been talking about it. So.
Oh yeah, and I mean, just since our Kickstarter, it hasn't even been 2 years yet. So somebody was telling us that we're actually one of the fastest games to come out from Kickstarter that funded at the levels we funded. So
and that's awesome.
That's amazing for the budget that we had and the small team size that we had.
Non-Friday the 13th related question: what's your favorite pizza topping?
My favorite.
I just want to know what your favorite pizza topping is.
Sausage.
Nah, I'm gonna leave that one alone. What was summer camp?
I lobbed it to you. And you didn't.
Oh, I know.
Self-control is immense.
All I could think of was the scene from Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy and the pizza.
Oh.
My favorite pizza topping is the souls of the young.
All right, so actually, it's onions.
Really?
Just onion?
Well, no. You asked my favorite pizza topping. If I'm going to get the pizza, it's always going to have onions on it. I might mix it up, but onions are pretty much a staple on a good pizza.
Good way to look at it. But usually the answer would have been sausage or pepperoni, maybe extra cheese, onions. I like this guy.
Onions.
Fuck yeah, I love onions. What was summer camp going to be before it came Friday the 13th?
It was basically the game we're making now with a brand new killer that Kane Hodder was going to be actually doing the mocap for. But so Tom Savini at the time was going to design a whole new killer for us, and that was really exciting. I mean, what he produced for the Savini Jason, his actual contribution to like post part 9, Jason Goes to Hell. Was amazing, but yeah, the stuff we were talking about doing was really cool as well. I'm very happy we got the license, but I'm also like, what would that have become? You know, but to be fair, it was always going to be a game much like we have today. Like there really weren't that many differences at the core conceits. It was hide and seek plus murder.
That's a good way to put it. How would Summer Camp Volume 1 turn out if you had not gotten the license to Friday the 13th?
I'm sure it would have been a lot of fun to play. It probably would have proved out. You know, we would have had a harder time getting noticed as far as like the levels of buzz that we've achieved with Friday the 13th, the game actually. But I think it would have done well, and I think it would have been a blast to play, and I think we would have made another game. I mean, you can just assume, you know, Volume 1, you know, we had intentions to explore other realms of horror. So.
And the fact that you had Savini and Hodder involved already, I think it still would have gotten attention. And I think the fact that you guys program a really great game, it would have gotten attention even more. So it's not so much a miss, or it could have been a missed opportunity, or that you guys are relying on the fact, because there's definitely licensed games that are pieces of shit. But you guys made a great game, and that great game got licensed because of the fact that you were making a great game.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's a compliment. That's a huge compliment.
Well, the game's not out yet. You literally.
I mean, everybody played the beta.
I feel secure.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. And if I wake up Friday and there is no game, I'll find you.
I'll be down in Mexico somewhere.
Just on a fucking beach, just giving the finger as you walk out, counting your Friday the 13th money.
Don't tell them Mexico. They have beer there. Tell them someplace it's dry.
Where would that be?
Georgia on the weekends.
Oh.
Utah too. They have like diet beers. Fuck that place. And last question we have for now is: will the game be available Thursday night at midnight or Friday sometime?
Really, we don't have a whole lot of control on when the console holders, the platform holders like Microsoft and Sony push their games. They have their times they normally do it. Sometimes it changes because they have other games on their plate that are also going out. So it just depends on the load of games they have for the week and you know how busy they are. But we are just going to try to kind of follow their lead and go with what they normally do because that's what works. We'd rather avoid a debacle trying to push and force something on them that they're not used to or they don't normally do themselves.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought your answer was going to be, but you know much better than I do.
That's the smart answer.
No, it really is, because, I mean, it's up to PlayStation and Xbox when they update their store.
Right.
But such is life. Oh, I heard another crisp LaCroix open over there.
I heard that.
Oh, you did? Yeah, it is super crisp.
That's
effervescent.
Someone's asking, is there going to be
used to describe this drink? It's just
straight off the can.
Yeah, basically.
Is there going to be a Skellington DLC? When?
A Skellington?
Yeah, I'm not sure what this guy's talking about.
Probably not.
Cody, explain yourself. Also, will Steam get a midnight release?
Steam we have far more control over, but we're still trying to, we're still figuring out exactly how we're going to handle it. There's a lot that goes into launching a game, especially if you're a small company, especially when you're also fulfilling Kickstarter orders and backer kit orders and trying to make sure everybody gets their codes on time before the game launches. So I know a lot of people really want to know exact times and dates so they can be in their chairs and ready. We're definitely going to get that out to people as soon as we know. But at this moment, we don't have any hard times. And honestly, we don't want to promise any time because especially with Steam, like you could push a game up and then there might be a couple issues or some files didn't copy up right. And everybody's like, well, it didn't work, and we're like trying to fix it on the back end. So I mean, I've shipped games before, and you get errors like, executable could not be found. And it's like, why? Why did that happen? So something needs to be addressed, and you need a quick fix on it. So, no, I'm basically being non-committal.
Fair enough. I'm actually going to open this question to Melissa as well, too, because it's not Friday the 13th specific. But what is your favorite horror game to play?
Oh, man. Resident Evil. Definitely. Just got the remastered last year, so that was fun. Honestly, though, if I'm playing a video game, I am putting most of my hours into a Fallout game. So I've played stuff here and there, but I've just kind of sunk all of my free time, which is now none, but all of my free time into something Fallout. So,
yeah. Randy, how about you?
So me, just recently, I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil 7. I beat it, went through all the DLC. I beat it on hard. I wanted the full Resident Evil experience.
Let's not brag, right?
Okay,
Some of us only play it on easy. Okay.
Did you beat Outlast 2, Randy?
I did, and I also beat that one hard.
I fucking am so upset with that game.
Oh, it was not quite as good as the first.
I never played the first, so I'm going back and playing through the first, and I'll finish it when I move. But I stopped at the second one. And I'm probably if you're in the chat, you've never played this game, I may spoil something for you, but fuck it, we warned you. When Marta is chasing you, and you have to push the cart up against the fence to hop over it. I'm literally an hour into the game, and I'm fucking irate. I'm sick of running away and shit. Bitch always finds me in a barrel.
That's Outlast in general.
Yeah. All right. I feel better now.
But yeah, outside of the horror genre, I like to play like real-time strategy games. Started my career working on games like that with like Command and Conquer and Red Alert, and so that every once in a while I'll dabble and see what else is coming up in that genre.
Every time you say the sentence, when I used to work on Command and Conquer and Red Alert, my nipples get hard. I drool a little. Right.
What was your favorite Command and Conquer game? How about
that? That's a very difficult question. I still go back and play the first one, mostly because it was like my first interaction with it. I remember liking Generals a lot because the graphics were so fucking good. The story in 3 was pretty cool, and then 4 made me cry
because it just wasn't what you wanted.
Well, they completely changed it, and it's like you have to like pack up your attack vehicle to put down a defense one to build shit, and there's like a cooldown for everything, and it was insanely difficult and dumb. I don't like hard things. Like I just want to enjoy them.
Not gonna argue that 4 wasn't good.
Yeah. I tried to go back and play it a few times, and it is what it is. Let's see what other. Do you know how big the file is for the download for Friday the 13th?
I want to say it's like 3.7 gigs, which isn't really that big.
No.
So a lot of people are worried that they're not going to be able to preload and it's going to take too long to download. And it's like, no. Like the game's been optimized. All the data's been packed. So it's going to download as quickly as possible on all platforms.
Yeah, 3 gigs. If you're on real American internet, that's not that bad.
Yeah. I mean, you could download that on dial-up in a couple hours.
Get that 56.6K baud modem out. Just tell your mom not to call while you're downloading it.
Hopefully nobody's on net zero still. Like I'm going to watch ads and get my internet free.
Oh, 14.4, you're not late.
There was a brief period of time in which I thought I was going to have to get satellite at our new house because Time Warner and Charter don't like talk to each other. So neither of you are involved in the Spectrum Time Warner Charter situation, are you?
No.
Okay, so Time Warner and Charter are becoming a big-ass conglomerate called Spectrum. Right now, we have Time Warner Spectrum. Our new house has Charter Spectrum. So when I called Time Warner and said I'm moving here, they're like, man, we can't help you. You're fucked. You got nothing. So I had to call Charter. This is 4 hours of me being drunk on the phone. And finally, Charter was like, yeah, you have to create an account with us and cancel your one over there to get the same fucking thing you have now.
By the way, 4 hours of Matt drunk on the phone is also called Mother's Day.
I took a shit on the phone and everything. It was a night. It was a night. Let's see here. There's more questions and I'm totally missing them because the beer's kicking in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down to answer whatever.
Oh,
or
yeah.
not. Let's hang out.
Do you want to go into like a steam bath sometime?
A steam bath?
Yeah, a nice shampoo bath.
No, I mean, I want my beard braided. Can that happen?
Yes.
You'll pay for that?
I would do it.
I was about to say he's not going to pay. He's going to
I'm going to do it.
Even better.
Will single player work the same as multiplayer with stopping AI from escaping with police or escaping by car?
We're building it right now, and it's a little bit different. I mean, it's not vastly different. You're still trying to find them, but there's lots of ways you can go about murdering everybody basically. And there's you could sneak up on them. You can pick them off in different orders. Basically, it's kind of like a hitman mission, but you're the ultimate slasher, Jason Voorhees. So they could still get away if you alert them. If you're clumsy, if you make a mistake, that might alert somebody else, and they might go tell others, and everybody escapes. So you have to figure it out and try to find your way through the levels, through each mission.
Mm-hmm. There's multiple maps, correct? Or
correct.
Is it just
in the game that we're launching? Well, and single player as well. Yes.
Okay. Kind of a dumb question, but hey.
Yeah, but it's also important to note that single player doesn't come out until summer. So.
Oh, fair enough. I'm glad you mentioned that. Will the backer kit version be downloaded and installed through Steam?
Yeah, if you bought the game, if you selected Steam as your platform, then yeah, you'll do everything through Steam. You'll go ahead, enter the key on Steam when you get your email, pop that into Steam. It'll add it to your library, and then you can start downloading it. And then as soon as it goes live, you can start playing. Servers go up, everybody have at it. Same thing goes for Xbox One and PS4. When you get your email, you'll go ahead and put your key in, and then as soon as the game is pushed by the platform holders, you'll be able to download and have at it as well. Start slashing it away.
Where will you be playing the game? Like not physically, like what platform?
I'm gonna go to the moon and play because that's the safest place for me to be.
Bad news. Charter does the internet for the moon, so you're.
Oh no!
Yeah, make sure you cancel whatever you got.
Damn it! So I'm going to be playing on all 3 different platforms. I'm going to mix it up.
That's what Friday the 13th money gets you. I'll fucking play it on all of them.
Play with everybody. I mean, that's kind of my goal. Is like I don't want to just play on PC and then say screw you, Xbox One people or PS4 guys and gals. It's like nah, I'm gonna hop between each platform and kind of try and get as many games in as possible before everybody gets too fucking good.
Fair enough. How will the kill highlight be implemented in the game?
The kill highlight? I mean, when Jason performs a kill right now, if he grabs a counselor, he'll do the kill. So if you're spectating, if you're already dead, you'll be able to watch that counselor die and be offed in cinematic fashion. If you are just in proximity and on looking, you'll be able to see it from where you stand. You won't go into any cinematic mode, and it won't break your immersion. But your counselor will, because they're looking at it. If you stand there looking at it longer, there is a penalty for checking out some of the cool kills as another counselor watching from the, from across the way. Your fear is gonna spike up, and your counselor's gonna freak out, and you're gonna be easier for Jason to spot and catch up to later.
Do the male counselors get fear boners? I killed him. Game's not coming on. I killed him.
You're gonna kill him.
LaCroix does not go through the nose well. You son of a bitch.
I'm sorry. I had to.
Plus, what a shitty thing to have the EMT or whatever say like later on. It's like, well, he choked to death on a LaCroix. Well,
wow.
What a
over
pussy.
counselor boners.
So no fear boners.
No fear boners. All right.
No. I mean, you won't notice it.
You can say
it might be there. You can imagine that there's a fear boner in their pants.
That's true.
That's all on you, though.
I will.
I have to imagine any boner in my pants at this point. So,
if someone can't find their car keys, can they call 1-900-GUN media hotline? I feel like that's.
I don't know what that would
joke.
get you. I don't recommend anybody actually dialing 1-900 gun media or gun medi. It probably goes to a sex line.
I'm gonna find out later. I'll let you know.
And I highly suggest that you call 1-900-GUN-MEDI.
Will the PC and console keys get emailed out before launch?
Yeah. All those will be emailed shortly before launch. Again, not a huge amount of time. Like part of my thing is if we email them out too soon, first and foremost, we have to wait and get all the keys in from all the platform holders before we can even send them out. But if we send them out a week in advance, some people would just be like, okay, I'm just sitting on them, and then they lose the email, they accidentally delete it, and it just causes more problems than it's probably good. You know, there's no balance there. It's like probably more bad can happen than good. So yeah, we'll be sending them right before launch.
Awesome. I think we're out of questions for now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, we've been pretty open and transparent with the game, you know. So I kind of expected that there's not going to be a huge volume of questions, but because we talk about it every week, we post up screenshots and little video clips and GIFs and stuff. So,
is your beard going to be available as a DLC?
It's the secret killer in the game.
So that's how you kill Jason. You got to grow a Randy beard and then snuff him to death.
It's just a walking sentient beard with an axe. The lumberjack beard.
I want that. I want that in my life.
It's not true though.
Nah, it gets itchy. It is what it is.
And then that's why it's irate, and that's why it kills.
That's true. Well, maybe if you use the kinder shampoo on it.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you the secret. It's coconut spray, coconut oil.
Well, that's my wife is allergic to coconut, so I would just murder her with my beard sprays.
Oh, there you go.
Well, that's not a good thing.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
Done.
I was just listening to Randy's beard tip.
That's true. Randy's beard tip: murder your wife with it.
No.
I'm
beard
sorry.
With coconut oil. If it happens to murder your wife, I'm sorry. That was not my intention. I wanted you to have a soft beard.
That's good. I just use conditioner. So the game is only being released on PC through Steam, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then that would answer Scott's question of if I order it on PC, will it be distributed through Steam? Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, how many achievements are in the game?
Oh man, I don't have it. Like I'd have to look it up. We played with a whole bunch of them, and we added them. Some of them had to be adjusted and altered. We had a whole bunch of backers who actually backed at a level so that they can actually design their own achievements. So we work with them to get their achievements in. I think it's upwards of 40.
Oh, nice. What is your favorite Friday the 13th movie?
Man, I love 6. I love 6 a lot. I love the first one as well, but 6 is like the point where like Jason kind of went supernatural and just kind of hulked out and just became this what he is today. It's just like unstoppable force. So that is probably my favorite, and also it's got the badass song and also the RV scene.
Yeah.
So
we're going to talk about 6.
Yeah,
that's good.
Second here. So
will
Yeah,
you
Alice
do
Cooper.
a stream for the game on launch day?
Will I be doing the stream on launch day? No, I'm going to actually be on launch. I'm going to be in Dallas at the Famous Monsters of Filmland convention for launch, celebrating launch there. But yeah, as soon as I return, I'll be online playing.
What are your thoughts on Michael Audrey Myers?
I mean, he's fine. He's not my guy.
Fair enough. Will there be a collectible achievement such as Pamela tapes?
Yeah.
Sounds like a
we
sex tape.
No, these are not sex tapes. Actually, the Pamela tapes are a big feature in the game that we were really happy to do. We actually got to work with Tom McLaughlin, the writer and director of Part 6, which we'll again be talking about later. He actually came back and helped us fill in the backstory. You know, what happened with Pam from the time Jason was actually lost in the lake to the events later on of the first movie. So there's backstory that is filled in, and you can actually find tapes around the lake and kind of piece the story together yourself.
There's something. So it got leaked that there's an achievement for putting Pamela's sweatshirt on. Is that true?
That got leaked? I had not. Well, I mean,
the internet.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, if something like that got leaked, I don't know that it's even a leak. I mean, it might not even be in the game.
Well, and that's true. I guess, whatever. I don't know what to say right now, so I'm just making sounds and saying whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Like people have all these theories, and I've seen a lot of discussion. Like, people are already trying to figure out how they're going to go about killing Jason and doing this and that. And like we just abstain. We're like, that's a surprise. That's something that we want everybody to kind of experience and find their own way. And kind of like back in the day when, like on the Nintendo, when the internet wasn't even around, you got your information from friends that may have stumbled upon things or that read a magazine that you didn't have money to buy. And, tips and passwords are passed around. We kind of want this to be a very special thing that people find and collaborate collectively as a community to kind of figure out. And so like we have all these things that we purposely haven't talked about. And we're just not going to discuss them because we want people to have that joy of discovery that is often lost in games because everybody overshares. Like, everything's over-explained these days in video games. Like, tutorials tell you every little thing in the game that you can do nowadays. And it's like, no, I mean, half the fun is of the older games is, you had to figure shit out and you had to piece it all together. And some of the stuff actually happened in your head. There was some imagination left to it. So we want to kind of bring that back. So we purposely haven't said everything. We've been very open, but then we've also chosen some things to be very tight-lipped about.
With killing Jason, I keep seeing all of these theories pop up, and of course, if you played beta, I mean, you cannot run him over with a car and kill him. Everybody can't get together and hit him and kill him. It's going to be, I don't know how to do it, obviously, but we tried all those things and we all died. And so all of these theories I see that come out, I'm like, nope, you're gonna die. So shoot him with a shotgun while someone hits him. Nope. So
people could,
we're gonna get really creative, people. This is very creative.
Yeah, it's gonna take a lot of time and effort, I'm sure. But yeah, it'll be fun. I think it'll be a big event when somebody finally does it, and hopefully they were streaming, or hopefully they were like, we're able to say, Xbox, record that, and capture it and share that achievement with their friends. And
then knowing how good Xbox's AI is, it'll just turn on pornography. So I don't have one.
So the last thing I asked it to record.
It learns about you, and then that's what it does. So your experience is going to be different from somebody else's experience. So
mine will just be turkey recipes and pornography.
That's a great combination.
Let's do some news in between more questions rolling in here. I'm really pissed about this, and Melissa, I blame you. But they're remaking the Resident Evil movie.
I am not remaking it myself. I just told you.
No, but you told me, and I just would have preferred never knowing this existed.
Wait, stop. They're remaking the Resident Evil movie?
Yeah.
Well, they're relaunching the franchise because they've hit the final chapter, and then the final chapter made a buttload of money for them, and they were like, money. We really would like more of this. How do we do it? And well, you just relaunch. That's what everybody does. Is they just relaunch it, whether it's been asked for or not. I don't know if a relaunch is going to give them what they want comparatively, because maybe the reason people keep coming back is because of Mila and the films as they've already been, and does redoing it or starting over again, is that going to hold the same account? Some people, it's going to be, well, maybe we'll actually get stuff that looks like Resident Evil, as opposed to what the films have given us. But I don't know.
I mean, who's going to be cast? I mean, Mila is the one. I mean, who did they announce that yet?
Speculation right now. They said there's some big names up for discussion for directing and casting, but it's just. I mean, I guess it's been confirmed it's going to be rebooted, but no casting has been announced. or directing.
You got all the info.
It's kind of what she does.
What I
isn't
do.
It? Yeah.
We rely on it quite a bit.
I hadn't heard that. That's crazy.
And thank you guys for using Horror Geek Live for news. That makes me feel all warm and tingly. Thank you.
Oh, we're going to be getting that too, actually.
What? Warm and tingly?
Warm and tingly.
Yeah, that's right where this whole thing is going. We're going to wind up in a big hot tub made out of Randy's beard.
Whoa. Whoa.
Have you ever eaten ramen out of your beard? Do you ever see the guy on the internet who made a bowl and?
Oh, that is so gross.
Oh, it's disgusting. But I'm curious if Randy's done it.
I mean, I don't know about ramen. At least not cooked ramen, but popcorn.
You like on purpose, or like
No,
you
I'm
find
just
it in
kidding.
your beer and you just eat
Yeah,
it?
like a week
I
later.
got stuck.
He just had some melted butter already in there, and he figured, "What the hell?"
Dip it.
Wow.
Yum.
That's gross.
I'm just
It
kidding.
is disgusting. I hope you're not. You don't have to lie to me. We're just gonna keep on rolling here. There's a 7-minute preview for Wormwood: Chronicles of the Dead.
Loved Wormwood. Oh my God, that was
TV
such
series.
a great film.
I still haven't seen it because I'm horrible at life.
We had it in our queue of movies that we'd like to get to at some point. We've just been blocked up with so much other stuff, usually because we try to bow to the guest's choice when they're on. But the preview for this TV series makes me really want to see the movie now, because the TV series plays off a pretty good example as just some kick-ass shit going on.
It was hilarious. It was really funny.
And it looks kind of like it's in the same vein as the Resident Evil movies. It's just way over the top, a lot of martial arts action shit going on, crazy zombie stuff happening. It looks great.
Yeah, it was kind of like Resident Evil meets Mad Max. And and there was a lot of that down under humor mixed in, the dark humor mixed in. And I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. And I reviewed it actually for another site. And I think I gave it like a near perfect score. I loved it.
See, now we need to get on that, Matt.
Yeah.
I think y'all would like it.
And it's my list of shit to do. A question came in because there's no release date for the TV show. Go see Wormwood. Moving on. Randy, will Kane, Savini, Manfredini, Cunningham, or Shelley be playing the game at all?
It's a lot of people.
I know.
I'm sure. Like Shelly's already told us that he's playing the game. He played the beta, so yeah, they're gonna check it out. I don't know how long Sean is. I mean, he's a busy man. Like, how long is he gonna actually play?
Yeah.
But I'm sure he's gonna dabble with it and play it. But he's a busy guy. So are the rest of them. So I know Kane's check it out and play it. I've seen him play.
Yep.
So
I was gonna say,
sure
I
he's
think
gonna give it a chance.
Our previous guest, Derek, who's the director for the Kane documentary, for those listening who haven't checked that one out yet, I think they're going to do an event where Kane plays the game, or he may stream or something to that effect. But
I, of course, interviewed Tom Matthews, and he did say he is going to be playing the game as well with fans, and that he would let fans know probably on his Facebook page how to play with him. And he has it for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, so he'll be doing both.
Nice.
Yes.
Well,
I want to see him play himself.
Might skin a cat to get in on that one.
And Randy, this is where we put in our pitch to you that please now work on a Return of the Living Dead game.
Oh man, I mean, that's one of my favorite films ever. Like, The Return of the Living Dead is amazing. Like, I know like Wes is also fascinated with that film. So I mean, who knows? But I mean, that would be like a dream come true. But yeah, I mean, man, the idea is just abound.
Well, you're sitting pretty right now. You know what I mean? Like Friday the 13th is easily one of the most anticipated, if not the most anticipated game of 2017. So I feel like from here, you could probably do something. You could literally do whatever you wanted.
I don't know about that.
You could probably walk in somewhere and just pull out your Friday the 13th money and say, hey, I want to make this game. And companies would just be like, yeah, do whatever you want.
I don't think you know how game development works. It's not
None whatsoever. I have no idea. You're just figuring this out now.
But I mean, yeah, it's probably going to be easier once the game launches, especially if it does well and actually takes off. Then it, we'll we'll have more options open. I don't know if that particular option will be open, but something will.
Either way.
I have friends. I worked on a comic that was based around a plot for
Corey, are you just
something-
using this to like tell people that you have friends?
No.
Oh, okay. Then
Because
carry on.
I don't want to lie to people. But a friend of a friend was doing a comic, and they needed someone to script out from a plot that John Russo wrote for the comic. And so I have a writing credit with John Russo, meaning I know people who know John Russo, and he's part of the Return of the Living Dead. He was one of the writers for the film. Maybe I can get you in touch with him. I don't know if that would help or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Anything
I'm
to make the
excited
fucking game
to
happen.
meet anybody that worked on one of my favorite horror films ever.
Fair enough. Melissa, I'm going to make you talk about the last news story because you wrote it.
Okay.
I know you're on
Which
your
one?
phone, so you may not be able to see it. It's the horror boards. I
Yes.
briefly
Yes.
looked
Okay.
at it. So
Yeah, so horror fix, it's horror/fix. And I know that I say horror like horror because I'm from Texas, so I'm sorry, but it's horror /fix.com is a fellow review news site that covers all things horror. And they're pretty awesome guys. They support a lot of indie projects, but they decided to come out with their own. So they're going to do horror boards, which is going to be a tabletop gaming where you pretty much play as the killer. And it looks like a lot of fun. They just started, I think they're at 10% complete within the first day, but they just launched their Kickstarter campaign. And for a $30 donation, or not donation, but $30 for the
Pledge.
campaign, you can get the game yourself, but then under that, you can get some other really cool things as well. But that's a pretty cool project, and I'm definitely going to back it
fuck yeah, it looked
because I
interesting.
want my game.
Yeah, there are 2,700 out of a $15,000 goal with 39 days to go. We will have the links in our show notes for anybody who's listening to this. Again, one of those things that obviously crowdfunding makes a huge difference. It can get some great shit made. I heard Randy's into it. I don't know. And
He dabbles.
and when you have the opportunity to support these projects, you should definitely do so.
Yes, they're like I said, they support a lot of indie horror, and so it's kind of time to give back and get one of their projects done. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll definitely. Have to
Randy,
swoop in and
another
back
question
that.
came in. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Make your comment.
No, I was just saying. I love Kickstarter. I'm gonna back it.
Fair enough.
Awesome. I'll send you the link later.
Is in-game Twitch streaming ever coming to Friday the 13th as mentioned in the stretch goals?
I mean, that's still something that's been discussed. We will continue to look into it and discuss, but we can't like make any commitments. And but yeah, I mean, Twitch is very important. You know, there's lots of cool things you can do with Twitch integration. It's nobody said that, you know, we scrapped it entirely. We just kind of shelved it for a while, you know, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. DLC. You always got that going for you. That's going to do it for news. We should probably talk about these two movies that Melissa so selfishly chose.
I know, that was so rude. Yeah, I went with part 3 because it's my favorite, and then part 6 because I hear Randy mentioning part 6 a lot, so I just had a feeling that was one of his favorites at least in the series. So I didn't even ask him. I just picked a couple of movies and said, "This is what we're going to talk about," and he goes, "Okay."
Yeah, that works. Yeah, it's
He's a busy guy.
It's easily been a grip since I've seen the third one, so I was kind of glad. I actually forgot how it started, so I was pleasantly surprised at that. But yeah, do we really need to like do a plot recap of Friday the 13th, 3 and 6 if you haven't seen them and you're here?
Then what are you doing?
Yeah, like you should rethink your life.
But there's so many Friday the 13th, maybe giving a little bit of a lead in. Part 3 follows part 2, where we had first seen Jason as the killer. Part 3 is the God damn it. Whole new cast. We've got a introduction to a new female lead who has some history of meeting Jason before, although she didn't really know who are what Jason was, and it has a lot of bathroom stuff in it. Can we talk about that?
I mean, why not?
Yes.
We've already discussed your prostate.
That's true. It's just part of
Didn't
the
y'all
course.
mention last time that y'all rarely have women on this show?
Yes.
And we figured out why.
Yep.
No, we have. I think we have not maybe enough, but we certainly have women on here pretty often, and it's one of those things that we get more out of, I think, because we want to see more of that. I read something that I was falling down a rabbit hole online today, and I went up on some WordPress blog because some of the people in Part 6 were also in a movie that I loved from the 80s called Give Me an F, which was a cheerleading late night Skinamax style movie. And this woman who's blogging about that movie, someone mentioned on her blog that there's not enough women reviewers online and other things. I'm like, well, we know a lot of women who are either reviewers or more women I know are the biggest horror fans than the men I know, and are involved in the art. Like we had someone on last week who makes horror movies. We have you, Melissa. My wife is the biggest horror fan I know. That's why I started doing this podcast with Matt. My cousin is also a big fan and does some stuff on sites for the genre and everything. And I think that's great. But we try to make sure that the people that we bring on either love the genre or at least have something to say about it. And when people like you are on, we think the show is better for it.
5 women have been on this show.
A total of 5. How many episodes?
This is 89.
Okay.
But
Wow.
A couple women.
And one has been on twice.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And one was on 3 times, and one was on twice, and so they're repeat. But there are definitely more outies than innies on this show.
I don't know. I mean, guys, I can't really be sure.
I can't say that. Yeah, I'm way more pumped to talk about 6 than 3, because as good as 3 is, 6 is kind of ridiculous, and it is a lot more topic points like the RV scene, and
There are some great kills, fantastic kills.
That's
what 6 doesn't have though? Shelly.
It doesn't.
Shelly.
Or 3D.
You gotta love Shelly. Oh yeah, or 3D.
action.
That's the thing about this movie that I had forgotten about, and as soon as the credits came on, I'm like, oh yeah. This is going to be one of those things where they really try to prove to you that it's a 3D movie, and aren't you glad you got those blue and red glasses to watch it? Because every time there's any kind of stick on the screen, it's got to point right at you. I was surprised, again, with the toilet humor in this, that there wasn't just someone shitting and you were looking down
Oh no.
from inside the outhouse. It's like just
virtual
looking up at
shiza
it,
porn.
It was
Yeah, we don't
so
need
bad. It was like, we really have to. This is our mark. It's part 3. It's in 3D. We got to do this for everybody's sake. No,
I
It just
went
makes
and
sense.
saw it. I went and saw it in 3D at Alamo Draft House last year, and I loved every minute of it. I mean, it was great. No complaints.
I don't think I've ever
it's one of those
actually
things
seen
that
it in
this was.
3D.
Yeah, it's so early on, and they used to be able to play 3D stuff on TV, but you just had to go get the glasses. But the effect ruined how the movie looked if you weren't using the 3D glasses, so it never really got broadcast that way. And I just wonder, did they think at that point in time that this was going to be something that was going to have such a long life, and how that was going to affect things going forward into the future? Like, now we've got 3D televisions that have a completely different way of doing it, and none of that stuff I think is probably transferred over. But at that point in time, 3D was still not a huge deal, but it was a bigger deal than it was even just a year later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
Jaws
everything
3D.
is like gimmicks, they just wanted to make enough money at the box office to be able to do another film. I mean, that was their goal. I don't think they thought about, how's this going to play at home on VHS, or, in 10 years when it's on HBO, can people enjoy the 3D, all the work we put into it? I'm sure it was just like, get it done, have fun, and see how it goes, and just make a splash at the theaters. I mean, probably didn't think much past that.
It's a good
Now we have
point.
to remember that when we do our Gremlins 3 script, that we're planning to do it in 3D because it's the third one.
It has to be. I mean, you have to do every third movie in
Here, I
3D.
assumed you were going to tell me that we had to stop the podcast because Twin Peaks starts or something.
I've got a DVR.
I like how you're like, I already thought this through.
Not Twin Peaks 3D.
That's true. That'll in 25 years, Twin Peaks 3 3D will come out. Not as cool as Gremlins 3, Gremlins in Outer Space from Nazi Germany in 3D. Working title, so no one steal that.
No problem.
I saw you guys get silent. I thought I heard a pencil or two, so I was like,
Randy, we're gonna come to you for the game.
it'll be a Battle Sloss DLC.
It'll be Gremlins 3D. Let's do that as a game. Let's do it.
Or it could be Gremlins 3D, the adult parody, where it's just Gremlins triple penetrating someone.
Triple penetrating gremlins.
I got it halfway through that sentence and thought maybe I should stop.
So I'm going to do something unorthodox and put you guys on the spot real quick. So I just got an offer. Would you want Wes Keltner,
Yes.
co-creator of Friday the 13th, to pop in and say hi once in a while?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
But yeah, maybe
I hear he's got a pretty bitchin' mustache though. So
Wes has an
yes.
amazing mustache.
okay,
that's-
no
that's
mustache, no
understatement.
party.
All right, I'm gonna summon him.
Yeah, please do.
Let's do this.
Does he jump directly out of your beard?
Yeah, basically. Well, no. I mean, our facial hair communicate, and that's kind of how I'm talking to him now. And I know he's gonna.
Is your facial hair just a cell phone? I see through your lies.
Oh man, damn it!
Now I have
Damn
to
it.
edit the fucking name of the episode to add this guy. Oh, Jesus.
You should. You should
Oh,
be
shit,
so
Matt's
lucky.
doing work. If he's actually putting forth effort, it means he's not drunk enough. Get him another beer.
No, this beast is just a lot of flavors. So she's a sipper. No one else drinks beer here, so I'm just gonna fucking.
I drink beer. I just didn't know we were supposed to drink something cool. I am sitting over
it's
here with
fine.
my unsweet tea with the Splenda.
No, I was gonna drink water, and then I have beer in my fridge that needs to be gone, so I don't have to move it. I have to eat a dozen eggs by Friday as well.
That's like a breakfast for me.
I
Dozen
usually
eggs?
like 4 or 5. Yeah,
Eggs are good. I like eggs. I like egg burritos.
we're gonna. I
They're my
had 3 of them for breakfast. We're gonna get chickens at our new house, so I'm gonna just be full of fucking eggs. So if you want eggs, you can come on over, get some eggs.
Oh man, fresh eggs.
Yep, farm fresh eggs.
It's gonna be awesome.
Not really. It's not a
I
farm.
envy you.
You want to come over and mow my lawn too?
No,
Yeah.
no. There's nothing I despise more than yard work, except for maybe dying or something.
Just let it grow until you get some kids, like led by a guy named Malachi out there, and see what the fuck you're in Wisconsin. You're
We could do that.
Just get goats. They'll eat the grass, right? Isn't
No,
that?
yeah,
I mean,
no.
you're gonna have chickens. Why not goats?
That's my wife.
You can rent goats from
Get a
Amazon.
goat. I'm like, I don't want a fucking goat. I got more shit. I have 3 dogs worth of shit I got to pick up. I don't need goat shit too.
We got a visitor.
Yeah. Hey Wes, we're just talking about goat shit.
Yes.
What's going on, everyone?
How are you?
I'm well. I'm doing very well. How are you guys?
What is everyone's aversion to not showing their pretty faces on the internet?
Well, I mean, it's 9 p.m. I've been testing the build for like 6 hours straight.
Mustache.
Probably not the best look.
I want to see your mustache.
You want to see the mustache?
Yeah, if no mustache, I will kick you out if I don't get to see this mustache.
It's probably not as great as you would think.
It's pretty epic though, actually. I will attest. Whoa.
Uh-oh. I don't know. I'm trying to get my camera to set up here.
Hey.
Wow. Sex
right.
machine.
Wes is doing it. I have to go. I have to-
How about that?
Wow.
Hey, we got.
I told you it was epic. I told
Nice.
you. Look at that.
Holy shit.
Like he's trained that. He's trained that to do
Oh,
that.
is my microphone in the way? Is hiding the
Oh, you're good.
mustache? I don't know if it is or not, but
I
nonetheless,
feel like if you guys kissed, it would summon Wonder Twin powers.
there is a lot of facial hair amongst the team, especially over at the Ilphonic side as well. There's a few guys there that have.
Oh man, they got some really
great.
beards.
Dan's got a great beard.
We're gonna change the name of this to the podcast, The Facial Hair.
It's not a bad idea.
No, I've had worse ideas
Like
in my day.
the facial horror hair. I don't know. There's something in there. Something with horror and hair. I don't know.
That sounds like a prostitute you find in a back alley when you got $20 and you're too drunk.
We can't call it Podcast of Beards because that's what Matt, my wife's podcast is called. So
Nice.
Wait, what?
What?
What are you doing? Why are you and my wife doing a podcast?
no, my wife and your wife.
Oh,
Did I miss the discussion about part 6?
No,
you're here on time.
we're
Like I could
barely
just-
in part 3. You are just right on time.
All right.
Y'all just
I love
want to
it.
skip part 3 and go to part 6. So it sounds like that's what we want to do.
Everybody
Part
loves
one's
part
pretty
3 too.
We have to talk about Shelley a little bit, and I also have to talk about my real love of this movie is for poor Rick, who just wants to get laid so bad and doesn't understand why his ex-girlfriend, current girlfriend, when he just jumps over and practically rape attacks her as soon as he sees her walk into the cabin. Why are you mad? Why are you upset? Why are you hurtful? Why don't I have a neck, Rick? What is wrong with you?
Corey, you're precious when you get on your weird little rants.
A lot of problems with people in this movie.
Yeah. But
I mean,
it's
Richard
in 3D.
Brooker did a great job as Jason as well. I mean, his performance like kind of helped set the tone after Baghead in part 2.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting part of the motion capture because when we had Kane in, he could obviously do 7, 8, 9, but when it was time to look at J2 and J3, those Jasons ran and Kane doesn't run. So it was kind of cool because Kane and I sat down and there were some couches or whatever at the motion capture studio and we were sitting there getting ready. He hasn't put on his suit. It was probably the 4th day or something we were there. And he was kind of, I wouldn't say dreading that moment, but it was, I think, kind of always in the back of his head, like they're going to ask me to run, and so we kind of had that come to Jesus talk and we sat down on the couch and I'm like, this is actually like a really cool moment. I was like, this is kind of a horror history moment where Brooker's no longer with us. You get to like pay tribute to that. Right. And he was like, yeah, that's the kind of the way I was thinking about it. And he's like, I didn't want to mess that up because of all people, like he understands, the value of, the being able to wear the mask and take on, the persona of Jason, and everyone that's done it before him had their own style and way of doing it. And he knew not to don't step on that, right? Like that's what they had and that's what they did. This is what I had. This is what I do with Jason. So it was a really cool moment where we, really sat and we dissected Brooker's approach and looked at frame by frame how he moves and how he carried himself, and then went through several cold shoots to try to get it down right. And I think we got it pretty close, but that's for me was it was a really one of those moments where I sat back and go, God, this is fucking cool because I'm getting direct Kane to pay tribute to Brooker. That's fucking awesome. To have that kind of moment was really cool.
Yeah, and that's the difference between a casual fan and a super fan, is that to a casual fan who's seen these movies but doesn't pay enough attention to that sort of stuff, they don't realize that there's different people playing Jason. They don't realize any difference between them of speed, of attack styles or anything else like that. They don't think about those things. But if you're someone who is a fan of these films and you're a fan of the people who make these films, then that's going to matter to you a lot.
Oh, yeah. If you want to piss Ronnie off, the other co-creator, send him a tweet that says Jason doesn't run.
He will come and kill you.
He gets that probably, I don't know, maybe once or twice a week from some dipshit out there that doesn't know what they're talking about.
You double dare me?
Well, you're gonna get an amazing.
It's your life.
I mean, I know it's false. I know it's a lie, but
I'm not your real dad.
wow.
Go do it.
All right.
But anyway, you were saying, sorry, I didn't mean to just hijack the conversation there.
Oh, that's what you're here for.
Oh, okay.
I do feel like I should point out that it's really nice to see how much work you guys put in it to make it a genuine Friday the 13th experience for each individual Jason, instead of just being yeah, you can play Jason and we just threw a skin on him.
Yeah. Well, there's several things to think about. For us, we knew when we got that opportunity, it's been nearly 30 years since there was a Jason game on the market, and with that kind of time, everyone's had their own ideas. Everyone is like, wanted some kind of an experience that was affiliated with Friday the 13th. And so we knew if we were given that opportunity that we really couldn't fuck that up, because if we did, would that mean like how much longer in the future until someone would try it again?
Mm-hmm.
And so it seemed like it wouldn't be fair to those that had sat and waited for this experience to happen, that we needed to put like everything we had into it. But the other piece of that was we were also super fans anyway, so we would never not do it the way we did it, like make sure that every single detail, like everything that's in the game is there for a reason, it's there for a purpose, and it was captured from a frame somewhere in the film, from the carpet to the lamps to, we tried to match as much as possible to the films, because to us that mattered. Like if someone else had the rights to make this game and I was getting ready to play it, and I sat down to play it and walk through Packanack and looked around, and if it didn't look like Packanack, I would be like, this is kind of bullshit. Like, like it should look like it should in the film. Like it's not as if we are imagining an entire new experience and we're saying, here's Jason, in wherever, like, somewhere that that's not Crystal Lake. You know what I mean? Like,
throwing a Jason skin on GTA or something.
Right. If we had reimagined it, then you have a different brush and a different palette, right? You get to do stuff a little differently, but we wanted to make sure that, no, we wanted this to be the ultimate Jason experience. We wanted fans to feel like, this is what it was like to walk through Higgins Haven. This is what it was like, to be on the back porch, front porch, whatever, of Packanack Lodge. Like those moments in the films when people were sitting around Packanack and, telling stories and doing this and that, like, well, that mattered in the film, and we wanted people to be able to experience that.
Yeah, that was the thing, is after we watched this last night, I put on the 17-minute online demo of your game, and I was just pointing out, I'm like, this is what we just watched. And you could see it when they're going from room to room and they're going up that spiral staircase and everything.
Yep.
It's exactly like it was in the movie. The two doors that don't make a lot of sense that they're right next to each other on that corner, but they're exactly like that in the game. And
that's the other thing, is those doors never got opened in the film. They never showed you what was in. There was some over by the kitchen area that did, but there's two doors that they don't open in the film. They never show you. So we had to sort of we looked at some exterior shots from, like, there were shots where someone was like running around the exterior in the film, and so we were trying to figure, okay, that's probably a bedroom, and so we kind of had to take some liberties, which is kind of cool too, to in a small way kind of touch canon a little bit and be like, well, this was what that room was. It's like a tiny thing, but still it was cool to be able to get in there and do that.
And the devs at Ilphonic, like they were scrubbing through Blu-ray copies of the movies, like Ronnie, Wes, like we all went out there and we were talking to them, and they saw that we were passionate about recreating the movie, so they got really passionate and they dug in and they all became fans. They started having viewing parties, staying after work, watching all the films to get up to speed, and like all of that kind of transferred into what we have today, which people are saying, like, this is the ultimate fan service. This is how you do a licensed game. This is the way to do it right. And for a long time, licensed games have been like the bane of gamers' existence. They see one coming and they're like, that's going to be a turd, because people were just cashing in on games, and it kind of was a business decision on whether they would do a game, whereas ours was a very passion-driven decision.
Definitely.
Yeah. What are the odds that we're going to get like a NES Jason skin?
Man, if I had $1 for every time that question was asked.
And I figure you had been asked before. My follow-up question was, how many times have you got that question?
Right.
You can round up to the nearest 100.
Yeah, at least over 1,000 at least requests.
At least.
The problem lies in the rights that we were given are for the interactive rights to make a Friday the 13th game, and there's only certain Jasons that come with said license. It was probably the first, if not second, question to the legal team was, what about the NES Jason, and they said, we don't have those rights. And I said, who does? And they said, we don't know. And I spent probably, I'm going to guess 14 months chasing this down, working with a lot of legal teams all over the world that at some point in time their company touched it, because it started at LJN, and LJN was acquired. That company was acquired by Acclaim. Acclaim was acquired by Sega, maybe. And it just continues to stack up till it gets to a point of you think you've landed at the door of the person, and they just go, oh, I have no idea. You know, like
I imagine
There's
some
a back
guy
file
like
cabinet at some company that they don't even know what's in there anymore, and they don't really give a shit.
yeah, it's like
Right.
a guy who lives in a cabin and on the top of a mountain and just smokes a cigar, going, "I'll never give up the rights for any."
right, exactly. That's his only.
He's got a
claim to
tattoo
fame.
on his taint.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Exactly. But I mean, with all of that said, we're still not giving up on it, and I feel like we may have gotten a little closer. So, we're gonna keep knocking on doors for sure.
And the fact that it's important enough to you to keep looking is, again, a testament to you guys as fans and why you should have been put in charge of making this game in the first
Oh
place.
yeah, I mean, the original game, love it or hate it, it was still a Friday the 13th game, and it still had some charm. There were still things to it that, I mean, I played it when I was young, and I don't know that I necessarily say I was scared when I played it, but I did enjoy it. I think as my taste grew, I started to go back to it and go, oh, this kind of sucks.
Yep.
But I think when I was young and the first time I played it, I was kind of into it. But I also didn't really know much about Friday the 13th at that point either. So I was like, yeah, of course there's spiders and yetis and bats and shit in the movies. Yeah, and you throw rocks at them. That's what they did. So, you know, some of that was ignorance, but there's still some charm to it. There's a nostalgia to it. That just like in the films, there may be a Jason that you necessarily don't like, or one of the films that you don't like, but there's a complete picture that makes Friday the 13th, right? And everyone has their own like emotional connection to some facet of it. You know, For me, it's part 6. For others, it's, you know, something else. And then there's a whole group of us nerd gamers too, that there's some nostalgia associated with that game, be it a good game or not. That's not what's discussed. There's something to that, you know, that look of that Jason, and the cover, the NES cover art, you know, that's Kane that was on the cover art of that. So there's something to be said about that too. So, you know, we want to try to bring a complete experience, and complete means complete. And so we're going to do our best. But the one thing we did get shut down on is reboot Jason, the 2009 Jason. They said absolutely, unequivocally no. So
it's probably good. That movie's no bueno in my opinion.
Well, again, we have to carve off was that a good movie? Like, that's not what we're discussing. That's not our jobs.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Our job is there's a Jason for everyone, right? Like, somebody, you know, looks at some certain Jason and says, that's the one, that's my Jason.
Right? Yeah, there were some good people in that movie too.
And say, that's my Jason.
Is there any gold that you can mine from the Friday the 13th TV series? Is that even something?
The one with the curio shop, the antique shop?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that was an interesting, quirky little show. We don't have any rights to it, so there's nothing that we can, you know, do affiliated with that show. But I think that show was probably a little ahead of its time, because there's been some other, you know, similar TV shows that have come later that are, you know, what was the, it's kind of got that, was it Warehouse something another?
Warehouse 13.
Oh, Warehouse 13.
There you go. It's got a little vibe like that, maybe with some Twin Peaks. It's kind of got some sort of mismatch of some different things going on with that series, but it also turned a lot of Friday 13th film fans off when they heard, oh, they're making a Friday 13th TV series, right? And you sit down and you watch it and you're like, huh? Yeah.
There's a couple of questions that came in here. Someone asked if the Packanack bell will ring.
I guess they're just going to have to find out.
Fair enough. Will the upcoming rights lawsuit affect the game at all?
No.
I didn't think so.
It's already signed.
Someone owes Wes a leg lamp. Oh, a leg hump,
A leg
not a
lamp?
lamp. Not a lamp. It's a hump. Is it a hump or leg? I'm
Oh.
sorry.
A leg hump.
Had I
A
known it
leg
was a
lamp.
hump, I
You
would
mean
have.
from Christmas Story?
Yeah, we have a fucking bar here that's just all leg lamps. It's called the Leg Lamp Lounge.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't ever want to go in there. If you could get a license for another horror franchise to do a game, what would you do next?
It's a loaded question a little bit. Mostly because, all of our focus right now is all things Friday the 13th. And I think a lot of people look at a launch as like a finish line, and it's anything but for us. When you're making a game, you're writing a design doc and you're sort of getting all your thoughts out on paper, and you kind of stick all this stuff up on a whiteboard, so to speak. And it's like, these are all the features we want in this game. This is all the content we want in this game. And everyone nods and says, "Yep, that's our goal." And then you start down the path, right? And you start doing some testing and R&D, and then you realize maybe that idea wasn't so good, or you realize we don't have the time now. We don't have the money for that. That's much bigger than we thought, because for whatever reason, right? So you have to start pushing things over to the we'll look at that after we launch list, right? So there's a lot of stuff on that after we launch list that we want to do. This is our internal like passion features and things that the more that we played the game and the game got more features in it, we came out of beta, we started adding things like flare guns that can fire at Jason. Jason has throwing knives and traps and cool shit. It got the gears turning again for us, and we would go back and revisit the features that we had postponed, and we think, man, that thing really complements this new thing. The more we play with this new thing, like a throwing knife or whatever it is, we start to see the connections to other features that we had postponed, and that lights a fire in us. So on our side, launch isn't the finish line. It's almost a starting line for us for more cool shit that we know we want to put into the game. So it's a little difficult for us to sort of shift over now and say, you know what, if you gave me another license, I'd like to make X, because we're so like ingrained in what we're doing with Friday the 13th. So yeah, but there's so many cool horror franchises. I mean, if you just look at the slashers that are, the iconic ones, I'd love to work with any of them, because I think you can make a cool game out of just about any of them.
No doubt.
That's your answer, Randy? No doubt.
Oh, well, I mean, Wes did a great job explaining it. Like I have like weird, like I can think of all the big horror franchises and think, wow, those would be amazing to make. But there are some like oddities that I would also like to make games for. Like, for instance, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's like a very weird look, as far as like a big game, but I think there could be some really deep, meaningful gameplay within that franchise, so like that would be like a passion project. I love that film. It was quirky, it was fun, it was kind of scary, and clowns are horribly creepy, and their fucking popcorn guns were amazing, right? And they could do all sorts of different things. The cocoons, the pink cotton candy cocoons, and that full of blood and like eating away at people. Like, there's so many gory elements in it too that I think it would just be a fun mix. But like that, I've mentioned before in other interviews, like that would be like a dream come true that you wouldn't expect me to actually say would be the one I would want.
Also, like, you could throw a rock and hit a zombie game, right? Like, they're everywhere. The market's flooded with them. Mm-hmm. But with all that said, I don't know that I've seen a like 70s type of zombie. Like, if you looked at Zombie 2, Fulci's Zombie, the setting of that, it was on an island, and it sort of had that it had that touch that was happening in the 70s, where Cannibal Holocaust and those type of films where they were shot in this like remote place, and there's like some kind of voodoo-y, witchcrafty, some kind of thing that's going on where bodies are beginning to reanimate. But then the way they were shot, the film grain, and then the freaking soundtracks for those were amazing. Like, imagine if you, not to say that this was what the market needs, I'm just telling you what I would want to play, is if someone is going to make another zombie game. Make it 70s and go find Goblin, the band Goblin.
Yeah.
Those guys.
I know the band Goblin.
Fucking right? And I think a couple of the guys have passed away because that used to be a big ensemble. Goblin at their peak was like 25 dudes or something, and now it's like 3, like that. So, but anyway, get those guys to like record the music like they did back in the day for some of the Argento films and shit. Bring those guys in to do a Fulci style zombie game. I'd play the hell out of that, but I don't know that. Is there a market for it? Zombies kind of going down the hill, but that'd be a cool franchise and a cool thing to, if you're going to do a zombie one, do something different.
I should point out the fact that Goblin had many iterations. So I think that's either way. Are you familiar with Necrogoblicon or Goblin Cock?
Don't think I am.
All right. Well, we're talking about Goblin bands. That's what came to mind. They're really not that great, but they're funny, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
God damn it. Too many questions. Someone said something about ICP. Man,
What?
Clowns and ICP, it's terrifying.
I was like, where did that come from?
This is where Screech shows up. All right, here's one. What about murder weapons? Were any brought up in development that were running counter to the franchise's spirit? Were there any other hot internal debates?
There wasn't any. We didn't have any like a weapon list that wasn't already somewhat affiliated with the franchise. So no, and Savini was designing the kills, so he has a intimate knowledge of what fits in at camp and what doesn't. So there wasn't any kind of weird thrown out from left field ideas for weapons.
I mean, you do get some from casual fans, like
Oh,
people always suggesting chainsaw. Why can't Jason have a chainsaw? And it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
If Jason had a chainsaw, I don't think he would even start it. He would just mutilate you with it without it running.
Right. And then there's also some
cool.
weapons that the weapon may have made an appearance in one of the films, but it doesn't necessarily make sense as a primary weapon that Jason would walk around carrying. Like the weed whacker, for example. When Kane, chops the dude up. That's a cool kill from the film, but imagine, Jason walking around with that the entire time. Like, there's starts to be some weirdness to that, right? He approaches a door. Well, this thing is huge and long, so it would end up clipping through the door, right?
Yeah, some things are just weapons of convenience.
What about having it as, say, like a weapon you can pick up that's located in the barn?
That's been some discussion about, like, can there be weapons that are placed in certain areas, and then how could Jason interact and use those? Those have been discussions that we've had, and we've sort of verbally and whatnot kind of drew out prototype of how some of those things might work. So it's still an ongoing discussion, but some of these things are more they make more sense for single player than they do for multiplayer. So some ideas were like, this one's pretty good, that needs to go over here. This fits in this box better than the multiplayer box, if that makes sense.
So speaking of single player, how much are you guys willing to divulge? Like, is single player you only play as a counselor, you only play as Jason? Is it both?
Yeah, I mean, we've already announced that stuff. It's only as Jason. It's sort of Hitman mission-esque, if you will. If you ever played,
we already talked about this, and I was busy drinking and completely fucking forgot.
I touched on it when we got the question a little bit, but I mean, Wes might drop some more knowledge.
Well, it's the multiplayer version of the game. If you think of it in terms of film, multiplayer picks up at like Real 4, right? Like someone has died. Everyone knows it's Jason, and they're trying to get the fuck out of there, right? So that's what the multiplayer part is, the component. The single player component is Real fucking 1, right?
I just got as hard as diamond as an ice storm.
So the counselors are AI, and they're doing shit that counselors do when they're in a summer camp setting and there's no other adults or whatever around. They're just being teenagers, right? They have no idea there's a masked killer that's going to brutally murderify every one of them. So that's where like these missions sort of pick up, is at that moment. And if you recall from the films, you know, parts 1, 2, and 3 were just, you know, days apart. If you're talking time, or no, I'm sorry, 2 and 3 were like days apart. And so it's looking at that sort of idea of Jason basically, you know, came back with, you had Sackhead and just went on a murdering tangent, sort of going around like, you know, making a circle around the camp, killing anyone that showed up, right? Part 4 gets to the Jarvis house, kills all those people. So if you're talking like time in the canon, where those were days apart, right? Not like giant years apart. So that was sort of interesting to us when we were looking at single player, is like he's sort of moving through these environments, right, in a singular timeline, and they don't know he's there yet. So that's sort of where the single player little missions or challenges, that's how they sort of play out. So there's some objectives and things that you have to try to complete, and some of them, much like in the Hitman style, it would be like kill this person, right? So you have to like go, you kill a person, and then at the end it tells you other ways you may have killed them, and it tells you that there were maybe some secondary targets or something. That was cool for Hitman, and there's a little bit of that kind of makes sense in Friday the 13th, where there may be like, you know, this is an example. I'm not saying this is exactly what's happening in the game, but it's, you kind of get an idea. It may say, the mission begins and it says, you know, you have to kill Tiffany, and that's like the prime objective, is find her and kill her. There may be other counselors on the way, and if you wanted to kill them while you're going, go for it. But she's the one that you need to take out. Or it could tell you a specific kill you had to do for her. So it's like, kill Tiffany by throwing her out a window, right? Or you have to kill this person in an area so that when the body is left there, the next time the AI does like a pathing route, it startles the AI. Oh my God, they like see the dead body, and then you step out of the bushes and kill them. So it may have like sort of multiple objectives and that kind of thing. Like those are the things that we're right now sort of turning the wrenches on, starting to feel pretty good. So once more of that coalesces and becomes more solid, we'll be able to share more details and screenshots and video as that's getting closer.
I now know why that guy wants to hump your leg. I get it. I know this was mentioned earlier, but maybe Wes can elaborate. But is there anything on the launch of single player?
I mean, we're still looking at some point in the summer. The certification through multiplayer kind of opened our eyes a little bit with like how long that was going to take, the process of that. We also have to go back and get re-rated by all the ratings boards around the world, because multiplayer is one thing, single player is another. So we kind of see how long that took as well. We also have some questionable moments in the single player portion of the game where we were kind of already on the line in certain territories. Germany. they when we go back with single player, they may be like, okay, this is too far now. Like you've gone too far.
Which is weird to me, but
everyone has their own trigger points, right? Like they have their things that make them be like, this is a no. Mm-hmm. And going through the process we did with multiplayer, we're realizing there's definitely some questionable content. I feel pretty solid about ESRB and PEGI, which is like the biggest markets. I think we'll be okay on those, but some of the others, it's a little questionable. So knowing what we know now, like that is still our target, but some of these things are out of our control with how long for certification, how long for the ratings. And I don't want to censor the game. I don't want for us to already start backing off of what we've already got in and moving forward with. So it's still a target, but you know, some things could move, but that's still what we're focusing on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned censoring, and I thought of Resident Evil 7, whereas in some countries they changed a handful of things. I believe you pull something out of a guy's body through his neck, and in a different country, Randy, I see you looking around all confused. And do you have any?
Outlast 2?
No. It was in Resident Evil 7.
I know Outlast 2 had a big censorship. Oh, that was in Australia. They had a big censorship.
Yeah.
For Outlast or Resident Evil? Or both?
Outlast.
Oh, okay.
Well,
yeah,
probably.
I know that one. But yeah, there's the part in Resident Evil 7 where you pull the fuck? It's when you're playing the game with the insane brother, but you pull something out of the guy, you like going through his neck. And they took that out, and then when you find the head in the fridge, in some countries the head isn't there. But
yeah, it's really interesting. The more that we got to know their rating systems and how they categorize things, everything is pertinent to context. So how did the player get into this specific situation? Were they funneled towards it? Was it player choice? Does the player have the agency to get themselves away from it? Could they have made a different choice and not seen it? So there's so many of these things that are somewhat unknown until you get into it and you hand them, your baby, and you're like, what do you think? And they're like, there's certain parts that they flip out about and they have questions about, and there's a lot of back and forth with those teams. And I mean, they were all really, for the most part, really easy to work with. Like Australia just took a really, really, really long time. Just the correspondence was like, we might as well have cork in a bottle message thrown in the ocean, because it took that effing long to get responses. But I don't think they're a huge team. Whereas, ESRB and Peggy, I mean, I get an email back in an hour. They were, they were super fast, friendly. ESRB being the coolest to work with.
Don't let the Peggy peeps hear that.
Well, not that one was. What I mean cooler, I meant their personalities were cooler, because they were like, "Hey, side note, Jason's fucking awesome." And we're like, "I know, right?" We had this whole sort of moment, so to speak. But the handlers that we work with are not the people that rate the game. They're just the guys that we're here to help you get your account set up or whatever. You won't even know who the raiders are, and they're going to play your game, and then they bring us back a report, and we hand you the report.
Which
so
is probably a good idea.
yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You don't want to for this. There's safety issues, all kinds of issues there, right? You don't want to know who they are, so on and so forth. So, but yeah, they seemed the most chill, I guess I should say. The ESRB seemed more chill about what we were doing. But the conversations were interesting, because before we had enough video footage put together, or before we had playable code, we still reached out early to ESRB because we were kind of worried. And so we're talking through, and I didn't know how candid, how frank I could be with the discussion, because it's somebody I didn't know on the phone, right? And I'm just so Jason grabs someone and he puts them in a fireplace, and he smashes their head into the fireplace. And then the guy's quiet for a minute, and he was like, "Is she naked?" And I'm like, no. And he's like, "Could she be?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "Is there boobs?" I'm like, "No." He's like, and he just starts this checklist of body parts, and it just, I don't know. The conversation went totally different than I thought it was going to. But it was fun. It was funny. I laughed a lot, actually.
Oh, I guess. I mean, video games can get away with a lot in some countries. So
sure.
I guess you never really see nudity in a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, nudity is one country's trigger, whereas violence could be a different one, and then the context of that violence.
There's a question for you, Wes. Is your imagination wide open with fun ideas, with single player ideas, along with what you just discussed?
I mean, we have a singular focus on what we're doing with that game mode. I mean, we still have a lot of openness and creativity, and that's what's great about a small team, is that we can be nimble and flexible. We actually learned a lot from the. You wouldn't think. I mean, some wouldn't think of this, but watching people play the beta actually helped us make decisions on the single player. Because when we watch how people move, react, and play, how someone tries to escape from Jason, that starts to give some idea and about how AI should work, but then also how the player plays as Jason and moves through the world, and how they try to fool counselors, et cetera. Different people play Jason's different ways. Seeing all that kind of thing, it was it was kind of an eye-opening thing for us to help shape single player to, I think, be better than what we had originally sort of, written up and we're already sort of moving forward with. But that's what's cool about a small team is we can be flexible. We can on the fly say, you know what would be cool here, instead of this other thing, we should do this. And that, you know, if the time permits, we make it happen.
I'm so fucking excited for this game now.
Thank you.
Thank you for making it. I don't know.
Do you think, I guess, Sean, because he's the one that saw what we were doing with summer camp and was like, hey, these dudes get it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. We're so far off the rails from the movies.
Sorry.
Which is fine. No. By all means, I'd rather you guys talk about the game and have that discussion than movies that we've all seen.
Well,
100
but
times.
we still need to talk about part 6, right?
Yes.
My favorite in the series.
Someone is asking if there's going to be double XP time frames like closer to Halloween.
I mean, yeah, we'll do XP
Possibly.
weekends and do cool stuff like that.
Like up to your discretion to do?
We have to reach out to, if you're talking for console, we have to work with Sony or Microsoft, give them a heads up on when we want to do it, and they have to set up their network to be able to do it, and they usually help promote it on the front page. Sometimes that's free, sometimes that's not. You have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's sort of moving parts there with that. On Steam, it's not as difficult for us to just kind of flip a switch, but if we want to announce it publicly, vis-a-vis like put it on the front page and let people know, hey, this weekend it's double XP for Friday 13th. You have to work with Steam to get a spot for that. Again, sometimes it's paid, sometimes it's not. It really depends on time of the year, what's going on, how much lead time you gave them, et cetera, et cetera.
Awesome. Let's talk about 6, since that's the whole reason that Wes came here. It's nothing want to hang out.
I'm going to be quiet first because I'll end up dominating this conversation. I don't want to do that. I don't want to step on anyone.
We skipped over 3 a little bit, and I know that was Melissa's favorite.
I love 6 too. It's all good.
Well, I just want to make sure that you get yours out of this because you're also our guest, and we enjoy having you on. And I know that you have a lot to say about these films.
I do love 3. I love Richard Berger. I know everyone says Kane is their favorite, and Kane, I love Kane. I love him in more than just Friday 13th, and he's a great actor. He's a great stuntman, but Richard Berger there was something about him I just love so much, and it's the last time he's really human. And the hanging scene is so climatic at the end, and the barn. I mean, I know it's really cheesy, especially with the 3D effects like we talked about, but it's when he finds his iconic mask. There's so much that 3, I think, brings into the franchise. And like I said, I love him. He's still human, he still has that human body, that human walk. He's not this giant monster of a man. So yeah, there's a
definite change up between 3 and what we see, and probably it's 6 where it really starts to change the feelings of the films for me, at least, other than 5 that we don't talk about 5. But I know a lot of people also say that Chris is, for a lot of people, their favorite of the final girls. I kind of lean a little bit more towards Ginny, but I can see, because of the fact that other than Shelley, it's not like the people that are in this are annoying or irritating, and you're not just rooting for them to die. I felt a little weird that they had all these seemingly teenagers hanging out, and then somebody who looked like Tommy Chong in the van with them. But
yeah, I thought that Chris and Tina were actually always kind of my favorite final girls, but then Landon, who he writes for us, he writes for iHorror, he's a great writer. He did this editorial about why Jenny is the ultimate final girl of Friday 13th. I went in already disagreeing with him, and I left the article agreeing with him. So it's interesting that my favorite final girl isn't even Chris. So I'll just send y'all that article. It's really good.
Yeah, Ginny just seems to, she thought things through, but she knew what was going on. And Chris is a essentially, after this, a 2-time survivor, but she ends kind of in a very bad place where we kind of assume that mentally she's not going to hold it together after this. And I think Ginny came out of it, and I feel like she was just able probably to recover better.
Yeah, part 3 was essentially going to be kind of like Halloween part 2, where Jenny is in an institution and he comes hunting her down.
Right.
And then she declined the role and they changed things up because it was very much Halloween 2. So I guess they were going to go that route, but didn't.
Someone's got to talk about something here.
Well, I'm glad they didn't. Damn it.
Randy loves awkward silence. Still waiting for Screech to show up.
Where is
three
Screech?
three is going to come down to me as the worst, ugliest, freakiest bathroom in the history of all film. At the opening of it with the two people in the shop. And I looked at it, and the guy is actively taking a shit, and he gets up and one doesn't wipe, two doesn't wash his hands, but the toilet is still somehow the cleanest thing in that goddamn bathroom. And I just couldn't help but just think, please just shove his face in that, because then he'll at least die somewhat like not emasculated by it. Compared to anything else in there, it was just grotesque.
This is the second podcast I've been on where we've talked about the fact that he didn't wipe in the beginning of part 3. I guess it's kind of a big deal.
And he's opening up donuts in his shop and eating them.
Oh.
And then his wife gets mad at him and then throws the donut back in the box. Like, that's going to be okay for the person who comes in there. Like, hey, I just want to stop by and get some. What the fuck is this?
Well, Corey,
What kind of
That's
business are
not
you running
chocolate.
here? Oh, God.
Corey, do you not know that movie poop is not like real poop?
No, it's worse.
Is movie
It's not
poop
better.
How movie poop's cleaner than real poop?
No.
It's not. No. You can hear the sounds. They utilized sounds, so they let you know. Some fucking Foley artist had to sit there and say, well, I got to make a diarrhea sound for this. And, but they can't get the actor to fucking act like he wiped. But then I saw the curtains that were sitting there. I'm like, oh, that's what he does.
Hey, could we get a little more grunt on that push? On your second push, we need more grunt.
Please, no more grunt.
Reel back the grunt. I really want to hear. I want to see you feel it.
Yeah, that's what I have to say about part 3.
Dude, yeah, I assume that was probably going to kill the conversation on part 3. So if you want to start talking about 6, should I set a timer for you, Wes, so you don't get?
No. I'm gonna keep it brief. I'll let someone else lead in.
It's
Okay.
good. I'm done.
For me, part 6 is all about the RV scene. Like when Jason takes out Court, flips the RV flips and goes off the rails, and then he climbs up out of it. Like that's my Jason right there. That moment when he stands on top of the overturned RV on its side, that it gives me chills.
Mm-hmm. Cool shot.
This 6 changes the whole atmosphere of the character. They start with, they bring him back to life. Tommy's not satisfied that Jason's really dead, so he opens up his coffin and shoves a big metal pole into his chest. Then he gets hit by lightning and actually comes back to life. So, Tommy, that's something you have to discuss with Megan later on, is that all of the people who died, including her dad, is kind of your fucking fault. Good luck with that one. But it changed the whole atmosphere. Like, the opening it becomes like a James Bondish kind of thing where Jason walks across in front of the eye and then slashes at it. It ups a lot of the humorous factor, and at the same time takes a lot of the realism away, which after 5, I think we needed a big change, but it's totally like outside the bounds of what we had up through the final chapter. And the only connection is the fact that we bring Tommy back from 4 and 5 sort of to this, which was a smart thing to do. And it develops that character and gives him a finishing note, but it's very, very different. And I think, does it owe something to the Nightmare on Elm Streets that were coming out at that point? Was it that we had just gotten to the point where we felt like, well, at 6 movies, we have to make him supernatural. We can't just keep explaining away that he's just a big guy that doesn't give up. He was a kid who drowned, who came back to life. It's already there, but it wasn't emphasized as much until this.
Did he drown?
Right.
Is he a Jedi? Was he brought back by the Necronomicon? I mean,
The Necrogoblicon?
No, the Necrocomic. You read Ash versus, what is it? Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Yep.
And it talks about how she brought him back.
Well, after this, isn't he brought back by a girl's wish?
Well, not her wish, it's her like telekinetic skills or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly. But she's trying to bring back her father, and it's like, oops, missed.
Right.
I can bring back the dead. I just wasn't paying enough attention. Should have aimed a little bit more to the left.
Exactly.
Well, and the Necronomicon was also in the Voorhees house as a little Easter egg. And so I don't know. That is a theory out there, but it doesn't really hold up with all the films. It just kind of explains why he keeps coming back. Somewhat, kind of.
I don't know. I look at Jason as I don't necessarily need a tremendous amount of backstory or like why is he like if I watch Jaws, I don't think why is Jaws here, right? I'm not thinking like this time of the year is not the actual mating season for great white, so they shouldn't actually be this far north. Like I'm not thinking like that kind of shit. I don't care. It's just Jaws is here and he's killing, and I want to watch that. And that's sort of what Friday 13th does for me when I watch, Jason. I don't necessarily need to know like, well, what's with this Necronomicon book and why does he always come back every time? He comes back because I want him to be there, right? Like fans want to see him. He is the hero and people buy movie tickets. That's why. It's
that
not
is
because,
it.
right?
Yeah,
so
because you can't just sit there and explain it over and over again, and you can't constantly. I like how in Jason X they allow it to reboot at the end. They give you here's our story, and then we're giving you the way out into the next Friday the 13th.
Sure.
But realistically, you don't need all of that. You just need Jason
really
to show up and kill people. Although I will challenge you on Jaws. By Jaws 4, you're kind of like, how can the shark swim faster than the fucking airplane?
I gave up. I'm sorry. I meant like Jaws 1 and 2, and
you forget
after that I was kind of like, okay, because there's only so much you can do with a shark. So I don't know, but can I
Yes.
Can I give my 2 cents now on 6?
Oh yeah, please.
All right. So for me, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, but 5 was not the best in the series. I'm not gonna drag it through the mud or anything, but look at the reaction from fans and it not having Jason, quote unquote, a real Jason in it. That's a mountain to climb, right? Like what was Paramount going to do with that series that was a big cash cow, and they kind of screwed themselves when they made that, and fans turned on them. How are they going to make another game? How are they going to make another film that's going to get people excited again? And that in and of itself, who has the balls to like step in and take that on, And I thought McLaughlin's approach to that was a little tongue in cheek. It was a little. I like that he sort of looked at Jason and as the same way that you look at creating like a universal monster, a Dracula or whatever. He sort of approached that with Jason, even not just tongue in cheek, but right in your face with, I'm going to bring him back to life with lightning, like, hello, Frankenstein. But that's also sort of a one-to-one to Friday the 13th in and of itself, because 5 fucking tanked and everyone hated it. How are you going to bring it back to life? It's like with a jolt of lightning is how we're going to bring it back to life, right? Like this, we're going to resuscitate this thing that died in the eyes of fans, right? And then, he's back. Alice Cooper. Yep. I mean, that song matches it, right? Treating it like you mentioned, the intro was like James Bond. Well, it's because to a certain extent, to the horror fans, when you see Jason on the screen, you cheer for him. That's who you want. It's just like James Bond films. He can't get hurt, right? Like he's always smooth and suave and gets the ladies. Shots never miss. All these kind of things. Well, that's not a giant. The juxtaposition there is somewhat real in that Jason he's always gonna get the girl, if you know what I mean. And so he can't be hurt. He's always going to be there at the start, at the end, and the next time it's going to be just the same. So I like that little sort of wink nudge, at the start where it's like, oh, James Bond, I get it, but it was kind of a clever use of it, I thought. But I think that was for a filmmaker to write and direct something up out of the hole that thing was in. I don't know enough people give credit for that. I mean, some do. I think some of the hardcore fans probably think somewhat like I think, but that was a huge undertaking. I mean, I would not want to be Tom McLaughlin in that situation when they came in and they're like, "Hey, do you want the job of resuscitating this?" Like, hell no. Like, call me when you're ready to do 7, right? Like, let someone else try to bring this thing back to life. Like, I don't want that job.
I mean, without the direction that he took, I don't think 7 would have happened, honestly. 6 almost didn't happen. I mean, I think if anybody else had directed it, it probably would have just been another rehash, got weirder or clunkier, and it just would never, it would have stopped right there. We wouldn't be here talking right now.
It's exactly, I mean, it's not precisely, but it's a lot like what happened with Halloween 3. In the fact that you're absolutely right. When people are talking about it, they're rooting for Michael, they're rooting for Jason. And so when you have a film, and especially because they called number 4 the final chapter, they had to do something to differentiate between, we just finished this and next year there's going to be another Friday the 13th. So how do we make that happen? But when you get in there and you're like, yeah, it's Friday the 13th, but not the thing that I love about Friday the 13th, just like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is not the thing I love about Halloween, that distances the fandom. They're like, I don't know if I can forgive you after this. So the next thing out is, hey, we fucked up. Right. We know we fucked up. Here's an apology tour. And everything that we're putting out there is to let you know that Jason has returned. So there's the song and the music video. It's Jason Lives is right in the title. Everything is just so you know, this is an actual Friday the 13th movie now. So let's forget what happened and get back to what made it great in the first place.
But I mean, 5 had good kills in it, though. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. But it's basically at that point. What was Matt? You guys did a review when you were with your friends. That was a movie that was basically just a complete ripoff of Friday the 13th. Was it Bloody Murder? Or?
Yeah, Bloody Murder 1 and 2. Trevor Morehouse. You turn your ass into lunch meat.
So A New Beginning could have just been Bloody Murder at that point. If it's Jason without Jason, does it deserve the name? Although we talked about the TV series, which was Friday the 13th, a whole TV show without Jason.
I think that was the mindset probably with Paramount, was that the brand was bigger than Jason.
Right.
And I think the
they
fans
were mistaken.
Right, and the fans were like, nah.
Nah, dude.
Right.
That's all. I expected you to go much longer on your rant.
Oh, sorry. No, that was my point. Was they think that, I mean, and it makes sense. I mean, Friday 13th is a mega brand. It's huge. But if you stick the Friday 13th logo, you go to some, pick a foreign country somewhere, English isn't their native language. Maybe they don't have Netflix, etc. Right? Like they don't have first world problems in these areas, where the places I'm talking about. You stick a Friday 13th logo in their face, and then you stick a hockey mask in their face. They're going to know the hockey mask over Friday the 13th logo.
Definitely.
I mean, when I met with teams and discussed with the powers that be, it was a discussion that came up, which was do test groups, focus groups, etc. Jason's hockey mask is at the level of the Mickey Mouse hat with ears. Like if you showed the silhouette of the Mickey Mouse Walt Disney and you showed a hockey mask, it's at the same level in terms of brand recognition. That people go, oh, pending what language they speak, that's Jason fucking Voorhees.
It's a really,
I always
really good
wish
point.
that some Bollywood producer had taken on Friday the 13th and done their version of it. Like they've taken on Spider-Man, Superman, and others. Like,
well, they've got
why
Rambo
not
coming out.
Jason?
Have you seen that?
Yep. Yeah, they're doing Rambo.
They're doing Rambo.
Oh yeah. I mean, the poster looked actually kind of badass. So I was like, maybe.
Whoever they got to play a Rambo is fucking yoked.
Oh, dude, he is jacked.
Yeah. Good work, Mr. Bollywood man.
Right.
Is anyone else want to make any comments about the movie? We normally rate it, but with 5 people.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna do this
That's a lot of
effectively.
fapping.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fapping. Yeah.
I like how Wes is just.
Wait,
Wes is like,
you need
wait,
to
wait,
explain-
what?
You need to explain the rating system.
Oh, I
to
will.
Wes.
Don't worry, I
Fapping.
will. I just didn't want to start talking
I
about it.
thought you were jumping out and trying to bail on the fapping and the rating.
No. I'm
Okay,
just saying we'll just have to simplify it. But so for Wes and all of our new listeners that hopefully stick around after this, we rate every movie on our 3-tiered scale of childdom. I call it the FAP scale, and I've gotten to a point now where I just yell, "Hey Corey, let's go to the FAP cave," and then we so.
Soundboards and all.
Yep. There's a lot of knob twisting, and it's like nipples. It's good. So we do it on 0 to 5 in 3 categories. We do it on the feature, which will consist of your story. How was the story? Was it original? Was it interesting? Did you like the acting? Then next we'll do the attention, which is going to be your rewatchability. Would you purchase it? Would you recommend it to friends? The last is our panic, scariness. How are the effects? Were you surprised? Were you kept on the edge of your seat? Normally we go through each one on each person. There's now 5 of us, so
Right.
I don't know how the fuck we're gonna do this.
Just take
I mean,
it, man.
you
Just
guys
go.
are the host. You guys should do. You're
Yeah,
the
you guys-
official.
this is your scale.
You realize that I'm just in a bedroom.
Well, I
On the
mean, we've
internet.
all seen these films 100 times.
Yes.
Easily. And so I think that one's pretty easy, right?
Well, and that was my question was, is anyone not going to kind of give this 5s across the board in some fashion? 3 and 6 being probably 2 of the best out of the whole franchise, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were the best. For
Might as
me.
well.
I think 3 had a lot of scares, had a lot of tension. So definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess if and feel free to disagree, but we could just straight up give it 5 fear boners all day.
Did you see that's going to be my metal band? Fear boner.
I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I get to play drums. So, Randy, I don't know. Do you play an instrument? Have you ever tried headbanging?
French horn.
It's like,
My first single is going to be Coconut Oil Kill. So it's going to be
Ooh.
amazing.
Ooh. I know people. We can make this happen.
lubricated for death.
Okay, this is done. We're doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's
Do you say fear boners or boner?
Fear.
Oh, this was before you showed up, so let me give you a quick recap. I asked if male counselors in the games could achieve a fear boner.
Oh, gotcha.
Just not even surprised. Like,
Yeah. Talking
So
about the
I took it on as my metal band name. Why not?
It's a good one. It's a good one.
I thought so. Yeah.
well, terrific. I guess we're done fapping then. So go ahead and close us out. If you can contact us by leaving us a voicemail at 805-328-3966. You can email the show at pot@gncast.com. You can leave us a message on our website. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all Podcast Satire. You can subscribe to this podcast via iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or any of your favorite podcatchers. Please leave us feedback. And literally have been whining about that for so long, and no one ever wants to tell us how bad we are.
You're so cute.
I know. All subscription options and links can be found at gncast.com/subscribe. And then you can find our entire network on Facebook under the Galactic Network. Melissa, let's start with you.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me at horrorgeeklife.com, and you can find us under horrorgeeklife.com under Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I think that's it. So yeah, y'all can find us under there. We have a lot of great content, a lot of reviews, news. We cover the horror genre, geek culture, and gaming. So be sure to check us out.
And fans of the show will know that we reference horrorgeeklife.com pretty much every week for at least one of our stories.
And we appreciate it very, very much. Thank you.
I'm glad we can
We
help.
appreciate you doing the hard work for us.
She's also a good hugger. I can verify that.
Wow, I wouldn't.
Oh, Wes, I love hugging you. I get to hug Randy and Ronnie this weekend.
Randy's
Oh,
probably the best
come in.
hugger, though. Randy's a really good hugger.
Wes,
you be
are,
the-
Wes, are
Can
you
you be
going
the-
to stream this weekend? They were asking about who's streaming.
I think Ronnie and Randy, you guys are all going to
We're
somewhere
doing
in
the
Texas
Monsters.
or something.
Yeah, famous
Yeah.
monsters of Filmland.
I,
Yes.
I'll be, staying here, putting out the millions of fires with Ilphonic and making sure, servers aren't, imploding and everything else that could be going on. When I have the time, I'm going to absolutely jump in and play with people. And primarily on PC during the day is where I'll be playing, and then at night, also I'll have a PS4 I'll be playing at work, and then at night I'm going to sign on anonymously and play on Xbox One because I like to watch people sort of when they don't know that it's me that's there playing, because people play differently when they're, oh, it's one of the guys, like they come running up to you, they're like, kill me, and you're like, no, play the game, dude.
Randy, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, f13game.com. Check out the site. If you haven't heard, we're making a Friday 13th game. You can also pre-order it now on Steam. So it's a quick search. Type in Friday and it's probably going to pop up. So yeah, pre-order there, and then Xbox One and PS4 on May 26th. All of them are dropping. So get ready.
Does your beard have a Twitter yet?
It should.
Yeah, it should.
Who's gonna run it? I guess my beard, but
Your beard will.
I mean, I have a Twitter. It's just at RandyGBK.
Oh, I didn't say you had to give up your Twitter. I was asking if your
Oh.
beard had one. Maybe you don't want people to find you personally. That's
No,
up
they
to
can
you.
find me. That's fine.
That's fine. Fine. Wes, how about you?
Twitter is at Wes Keltner Super Original. So there's that. I don't really do the Facebook stuff. And you can pretty much find me in the next month or so in either Crystal Lake or asleep. So I'm either going to be in the game playing or trying to sleep. There's not been much of that since the beta, so that's a thing that we're all trying to plan to catch up on, because everyone's pretty tired.
Does your mustache have a Twitter?
No, it doesn't need that.
It
It's not much for celebrity. It's not into that,
Fair enough.
It kind of does its own thing when it wants to. But I do want to say hey to like the entire F13 army. There's everyone hangs out on Discord. You should join the Friday 13th Discord. This isn't a channel that we put together. It's the one that fans put together, and we think that's the way it should be. The fans built the films. The fans jumped on Kickstarter and helped us make the game. So the fans run the Discord. Myself and Randy and Ben and several of the Ilphonic guys. Harry, who's done, he does a lot of the animation work, a lot of the kills, a lot of the gore. He's the one that made all the new dynamic hair system. So all of our females now have dynamic hair when they move, which is awesome. That was Harry. You'll find him in there. You'll find Dan in there, and Dan is lead engineer on the game. So all the multiple systems that are in the game, his hands touch those and help build features, etc. So you're going to find a lot of the guys, because we're a small team, or less than 30 total. So you'll find us hanging out in that Discord pretty much every single day. Somebody's in there hanging out. So hats off to the guys that put all that together, is Rain Skull, and they got a bunch of different. That's one of the guys that put it together, as well as several others that are mods there. I see Jen the Strange is in the chat tonight. I think she helps over there in mods. So yeah, it's a cool community of hardcore Friday 13th fans, both from films and just people who love video games. So that's a place that you can find me sort of lurking around as well from time to time. But it's a cool community, and I'm humbled to see all these people sort of come together in a positive way, and they hang out in a room and no one's being a dick, which is super, super rare on the internet. So that's cool.
If someone in the chat has the ad link for Discord, if you could send it, I can put it in the. Yeah, I can put it in the show notes then.
Cool. That's probably Jen can probably get that. I think I saw her in the chat. So Jen, grab that URL and drop it in.
Yeah, you're on the fucking clock right now, Jen. We're not talking about anything else until you acknowledge
Make
this.
it work.
Awkward silence.
Oh, she said she tried.
Oh,
shit. Oh, because YouTube won't let you put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get it to you somehow, some way.
Yeah. Twitter that shit at someone.
Or there's that.
Yeah. Corey, where can people find you? I think Wes is
you can find comics I help publish at donutscomics.com. You can also follow my wife, who's a pretty amazing horror / lowbrow artist, on Instagram, which is filling up like crazy with the stuff that she's doing. She is at hag_attack, and her stuff has been blowing up.
Terrific. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Untapped at Matt the Lifeguard. That's going to wrap it up for another episode of the Podcast of Terror. Thank you everyone in the chat for hanging out. This has been really fucking cool. Randy, Wes, Melissa, thank you.
Yes. Thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
it's been fun.
We'll have to do this again, and maybe Randy won't just plague the conversation with his beard.
Next time we should invite 4 more people.
Yeah. You guys got anyone else you want to add into this thing?
And you need to bring Dustin Diamond.
We tried. He wouldn't reply to us for some reason.
Yeah. Do you think he's like upset that we just make fun of him? With love, though. I do it with love. Nothing but love. Awesome. Well, thank you again, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Now I'm going to stop YouTube.